What's up, Miniatures Paintbrush Legion, and welcome to Terrain Tutorials. Welcome back, TMP fans, and welcome to another episode of Terrain Tutorials. Before we get started, I must say that you are my sunshine on a rainy day, and if you haven't done so already, consider subscribing for more content. Let's get to it. Industrial pipes. Now, I'm creating this entire terrain project for my gaming table so I can play Warhammer 40k or do some kind of D&D campaign, but in an industrial type setting. I think that would be cool too. And me being me in my over-the-top kind of fashion, I have to do things on a large scale. And that means I don't take any project lightly. So now after this terrain tutorial, this is just a break from my Tau tutorials that are coming back. My Tau are coming back because I still have to finish up a Kill Team box set that has Tau in it, and that's hence I started the terrain project because I had terrain in it as well as I am going to finish up one more of those holiday box sets that I have of the Tau, and I'm going to get that done and finally finish my Tau project that has been going to be almost 5 years of my life. And that is a very long time to put a lot of detail in. But here's the thing. When it comes to painting my miniatures, I like to give a really decent amount to the miniature. And why is that? Because I spent so much money, because Warhammer is not cheap. I spent so much money on my miniatures. And as you can see here, I have quite a few to complete. I want to give it my complete effort. I want to do the best that I can so that I can improve at least one skill. So it takes me a long time to paint. Now, is that a bad thing? Well, if you're purely into this hobby for gaming only, then yes. But I actually enjoy painting and I enjoy as a respite. So, I had a stressful day or something like that. Well, I just go into the painting desk and just have a ball painting and bringing something to life. That's what I like to call it. And anyway, enough about me yammering. Let's go down to the table town and see how I get on with it. All right, welcome back to Table Town. We're going to start with primer. And the primer that I used was Rust-Oleum Flat Brown from the Camouflage lane, the Camouflage series. And here we have me just base coating it in Mephiston Red. Now, it does take quite a few coats to get the Mephiston Red as deep and dark as I want to, but I do want this to be like dirty, so I get on with it with that. Now what I'm doing is taking some jet exhaust and just going in there, and it's just a little bit of jet exhaust with a mixture of chrome in there because I just wanted a dark kind of metal. That's what I was going for there. And I do have a Vallejo metal color, and that's what I was going to, but you can use any metal you want to. You can mix a shiny metal with some dark or some black ink, and you can get the same effect. I mean, I think it came out pretty good. It's like deep, heavy metal, and that's the first step. After I did all that, and I did batch paint this time, dark Prussian blue from Vallejo Model Color. And if you didn't know, if you check out Vallejo Model Color sets on Amazon right now, they are going for an all-time low. Ladies out there, if you wanted a stocking stuffer for like 20, 30 bucks, then you can get your hobbying partner some of those Vallejo paints. I really do like them. They're still sturdy. There's nothing wrong with them. There has been a lot of different products out lately, but very few things are the same as, going tried and true, going back to the old school methods. It worked before. Why are you fixing something that's not broken, right? So we're going to get the dark Prussian blue, and we're going to go on to the little exposed kind of glowy bits. And we're going to do a layering process for that. So sky blue, white, and dark Prussian blue is going to be it. And I'm going to throw that all onto my wet palette. And I'm going to start just mixing colors in, okay? It's pretty diluted there. So this way it will flow, a little bit of flow improver. What happened there is I put a dot of flow improver in there, and then the paints kind of like merged together on my palette. So there's a hot mess there, but I still was going to use it anyway. And you could always tell when something is too not thick enough. So there it is. And all I did was using the side of the brush and just going from dark to light. Very easy way to create some kind of glow effect, like a minimal effort glow effect, which looks okay. All right, some Payne's Gray from Monument Hobbies. Vince Venturola series. I do like that deep kind of midnight blue that it gives there. Yeah, so I did the pipes with that, adding to the dreariness of it. Red is a very lively color. So in order to mute it, I use a Mephiston red, which is muted already. And then I try to use some muted colors, but I didn't want it to be a boring piece. So I'll top it in with a pop color as well. All right, some black now for, again, some of those vents that are on there, those perforated vents that you have there. And if you have these industrial pipes, really a joy to paint up. It was one of the larger parts of this terrain project, simply because there were quite a few pipes that I had gathered throughout the years that needed to be done. And in doing so, it just took very, very long time. But in the end of it, it's going to be quite a terrain heavy table to give to give my Space Wolves an opportunity to get up close and personal to the Tau. But there will be some fire lines. Intermediate from the Panzer series, intermediate green now. It's a nice little minty type of green, which I thought would really, really contrast with the red and really bring that to fruition. And it was a fun color to paint. And I usually do the livery greens. I also do, like really, really bright neon type of greens from Vallejo Game Color. But this was just like a different, again, muted but fun color to paint some of the wires and stuff like that. And I always try to change it up just a little bit. And yes, I try to get all the wires and stuff like that. Time for water-soluble rust. Now, I made a mistake here. I did not accurately mix it up well enough. See how I do a couple of shakes? That is by no means the amount you need to mix that up. The best thing you can do is get an agitator. Also, if you're going to use this, make sure you throw away the brush that you're going to use, because it's going to really damage the brush. So I just tried some stuff and let it dry and go on to the next color, which is the gold. And I'm going to do all the gold bits, which are all the plaques and stuff like that. I do like to paint them gold. Again, you can paint these any color you want using the same kind of techniques and steps. I want it dreary. You can go for neon if you want to. But you see, side of the brush is definitely best with raised areas, not just edge highlighting, but also here as well. Now, one of the things I don't do too much is a lot of edge highlighting onto something as dreary as this. I do the opposite. And it's where I'm going to darken in the corners and then like scratch out some of the highlights and rub off some of the paint on the ends, so it looks like rust and brown and sad in a way. All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to do some of the gold right there. And we're just going to add some of the bits to the gold. Here is the shades, right? And getting that shade in there. I also do lining. Usually I do black lining with everything. But this one here, I just wanted to darken in the areas. So what I started to do is I started like tracing all the lines in between. Because if you look at it, all the red there, it's just not pronounced enough. There's not enough separation there. So I wanted to give it enough separation. And in order to do that, I started tracing some of the lines. At first, I wanted to use it to darken in areas like a drip of rust. But then I went into the corners here and I got to it. And you don't have to be super neat with this, because as it dries, as long as you hit it more than once, that's the secret here. You got to hit it more than once. The lining, and it actually gives shadows and depth to the miniature, whatever it is that you're painting there. But in this type is the pipes. But whatever you're painting, it can give depth to all the edges without harsh black lining. And I think black lining is great, and I've used it a lot, but it gives that a cartoony vibe. And if you're going for, something a little more dark and grim, then maybe not. And you can see there, the pipe is looking a little darker on the edges than in the middle. And that's exactly what I was going for, adding contrast with depth, or adding depth. and creating some interest with that depth. And it's a brown depth, which is good because, dust and dirt, industrial, that's what I was going for. And it makes it it makes it super fun in order to do. And yeah, just painting with shades instead of just throwing wash all over the place and darkening down my already dark scenery. I just carefully place where I want it to be darker. And there was a lot to get done here. You see the rust that I did over there in the old patches look like, well, dirt. Here's a scratch brush. I got this at an art store and I wanted to try it out. So the idea here is if you want to gouge your plastic, then don't use any water. But I dipped this in water because I just wanted it to affect the paint and not go too deeply. So it's a balancing act between how much pressure you use and the water definitely had a difference, and it made it easier for the tool in order to glide. And I just wanted to add some bits of, distress to it and really look like it's been really worn. A lot of people say I paint clean and I don't really add some of the weathering to it. But the thing is that with me, I don't use weathering to cover up anything. I just use it as an accent. Some people says, oh man, I'll just put weathering over that and cover up that mistake. I try not to. I try to be intentional with everything. Okay, here comes some nail art, which is really interesting. And it's graffiti nail art, which I thought was great. Now, there's two ways to do it. There's one, these are very translucent decals. So the first one I did, and I'm going to do without any undershading to show you what that kind of looks like. And if you like that kind of style, by all means, go for it. And then I'm going to cut out a couple of other ones, and I'm going to show you what it's like to actually have undershading within it. So it makes it a little lighter. So there's two different ways to do it. Now, the thing about these nail arts is that you do have to cut them out very carefully and very close to the decal as best as you can. As you can see, that is out of control. All right. So time for some water. CK Studios, of course, represent. And then put in some water inside the opposite end of a bottle cap, which I do like use bottle caps for a lot of different things. I like recycling things, so I am recycling the bottle cap, and it's a great place to put that. I'm going to integrate some microsol, not only to the water, but also to the miniature itself. All right, and then I'm going to peel this off. Look how it peels off. It's very interesting. See, it's very thick. So I put some micro sol onto the actual miniature, actually the decal. And watch, I'm just going to apply it over here, and you can see that it's very transparent, and you can almost see through it. That's a translucent, dark kind of decal in order to do. So I experimented with that one first, and I'm going to do another one with some undershading, which is going to take a little process now. But these decals are shiny, so you may want to hit them with some matte varnish or matte medium, just to dye them down. Really, just dye them down, which is really good. I like to use a lot of different kind of matte mediums, but AK Interactive is my favorite. They use ultra matte varnish, which is really great. And it's pretty thick, so I go back with a little bit of water later on. And it dries pretty okay. Okay, let's go on to the undershading part. We're going to do a couple more, and now I'm going to just do some white on one side, straight white. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to poke little dots, like almost like overspray when you're spraying with a rattle can onto an item. And I'm not talking about like, a scaled item. I'm talking about if these pipes were 1-to-1 scale and you were spraying. Sometimes you get overspray with the rattle cans that you use. And that's what I kind of wanted to represent. I sped this up a little bit so you can see it's just a whole bunch of dots, and there is an art form with just dots, which is amazing. I think it was George, Something in the Park with George. I remember that play. And yeah, just trying to do that overspray and just doing a whole bunch of dots. Simple as simple can be. I wanted to go fast with there so you can see, again, how that looks. Getting some splatter And that's just a whole bunch of fun going on right there. And I really enjoyed this part. And the fact that I found nail art is pretty amazing. Now, the other side, what I'm going to do is add variety of colors. So some sky blue into that as well, mixed in with the white. And you can mix just about anything. I would use lighter colors, so this way your graffiti would pop. So, but you can use any color you want. Like if it's a more of a greenish kind of, a greenish type of decal, then go for maybe a light green with dots and stuff like that. That's just an easy way to just go for it. Just little dots. And you may be nervous about this step because here you are like putting big old dots on the area you painted, but it's all means to an end. It's going to come out looking fabulous. It's just another step and another tool in your toolbox in order to use for your miniature painting. So there it is, a whole bunch of dots. Time to put in this decal, which is more bluish. That's why I went for the sky blue and white. And I'm going to just sink that in there really quickly. I love these things. I really do. Another thing you can use is paper. Like if you scale down some of the propaganda that 40K put out, and then you put some glue onto it, you could just straight on do that. That's very opaque, but I do like these decals. I think they're so much fun. And there's so many things with nail art that you can do, but just use Microsol so it can conform, especially if you have a rounded edge, because these are tough decals. They are pretty tough. So look at that. Look at that no cat. I don't know what that means, but there it is. There's the no cat. And it looks adds variety to it. I really like that. See how it pops? Isn't that something? That's fun. All right, squeeze the water out of there. Again, I'm going to hit that with some matte varnish as well. I'll do it off screen. All right, here's another one. This is just a white background, and trying out just the white background and see what that looks like as well. All right, coming back, it's all slipped off. Again, using the technique, pulling it out with some tweezers, putting it on my finger, dipping the tweezer into Microsol, and then just adding that around there just so that it can really start, you know, softening up that decal so I can just apply it on and then varnishing it with afterwards. I think it came out pretty well as I adjust that. So I really enjoyed the process, and I really enjoy creating these pipes. Hopefully you have a great time creating your pipes. Try the nail art. That's some fun stuff. And maybe the scratching tool too. Hopefully you picked something up. And I guess I'll just catch you on the outro. See ya. Now, there it is. Quite a few interesting concepts here that we went over. One is a scraping tool that I bought out and I wanted to definitely try out onto this miniature. Another is nail art for graffiti or other things. Nail art is pretty cool as decals, and they're very, very sturdy. You will need some Microsol in order to soften them to conform to the different areas of your miniature, but still, they are a good alternative for some graffiti really quickly onto your models. Just remember, they are transparent, so you may want to think about your undershading before you put those decals on. And finally, cut the shine down with a little bit of matte medium. All right, well, I'll leave you with this. Paint every miniature to improve at least one skill and may your backlog get ever smaller.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, fuck everybody, just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.